Iowa State is just getting too good. We cannot have the pros picking off our coaches like this. I simply can't take it for my own health. We'll cover it today on Locked On Cyclones.
You are Locked On Cyclones, your daily podcast on the Iowa State Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in to Locked On Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Shout out to you guys that are here every day and make this your first watch or listen. I can't appreciate you enough. Be sure wherever you're watching or listening to subscribe so we can prove once and for all that it is in fact a Cyclone state. We got a few things to cover today. We're going to be kind of going around the horn as we have been recently. Noah Pauley may be going to San Francisco? Question mark, question mark. We'll cover that. Then the women will face the one and only Texas Tech tonight. So we'll have to talk a little bit about that game in the second segment. And then finally, to round things out, the men, the men's basketball team that has been dominant. So we're going to have to talk about the awards that they've been winning because they are all over the place. That is true. Before we get into that, though, first things first, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Now, we have to talk about this piece of news that came across my timeline and freaked me out. Noah Pauley. Yes, the Noah Pauley that we were talking about was it last week or the week prior? That one wide receiver coach of the year may not be a Cyclone next year. Now, I will say, with a resume that Noah Pauley has, I'm not surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised even if he doesn't take this job, he's out the door in just a few short years. Obviously, was at North Dakota State with, at the same time as Trey Lance and Christian Watson, and then he comes to Iowa State, takes over as the wide receiver coach, but also as the not the OC per se, just had a little bit more say than a traditional wide receiver coach. And Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel become the only wide receiver duo in the entire country to have 1,000 yards each. So, pretty big deal. Okay, this guy's pretty good at coaching the wide receivers. And so the 49ers then interviewed him to be an OC for them out in San Fran. And obviously Brock Purdy plays out there. So maybe the pipeline's there. I don't know. Now that we're into this a little bit, I should say this is a bit of an interesting one. Okay, hold on to your hats, everyone. Sit down, get your popcorn, break it down with me. Here we go. Noah Pauley obviously interviews for the 49ers OC position. If you're deep into the NFL kind of lore, to the NFL happenings, what's going on, you probably knew this right away. You clicked on the video, you started typing your comment, and now I'm covering it. So I apologize for waiting, but I wanted to make sure we convey that he did, in fact, I believe he completed it, didn't he? He completed an interview. So that is like literally, we need to cover that. That is what happened. And also the chance that he will leave, like very real chance of that. Now, this is where things get interesting if you're not super deep in on this whole NFL side of things. Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers, announced on Wednesday at his season-ending press conference that Clay Kubiak would receive a title promotion to offensive coordinator. Kubiak held the title of offensive passing game specialist this year, his fourth season with the 49ers, and he says his role will be the same as it always has been. It's just that he didn't have the title yet. Now you're thinking, well, didn't they? I swore you just said that they completed an interview with Noah Pauley. So what are we talking about here? Well, let me introduce you to the little wrinkle called the Rooney Rule. The NFL informed 49ers they must comply with the Rooney Rule, which has been a lot of in talks quite a bit this offseason, as fresh as it is. The NFL requires each team to interview at least 2 external minority candidates in person or virtual for a coordinator opening. So was this a real, true interview? Probably not. But also you have to understand this about the NFL. I don't want to hear anyone saying it's a Rooney Rule interview. They're not, they're not actually interested in bringing him in. These NFL executives, these higher ups, are so far ahead. They're playing in not even chess anymore. What they're playing is effectively intergalactic version of chess compared to what we are used to, which is only 2D. Okay. And I don't even play that. I play checkers. So that being said, I believe that the San Francisco 49ers obviously have to tick off that Rooney Rule check mark. It's just a rule. It's actually something they have to do. But more than that, they interview Noah Pauley because they know he will be in the league soon enough. At some point, Noah Pauley will probably be it maybe just as a wide receiver coach, but an OC and maybe down the line even a head coach in the NFL. And so they want to get to know the guy. They need to know how he ticks, because they're if it's not on their team, they're gonna be facing him. And so they want to know as much as they can about this guy and try to obviously evaluate, is he good enough for our squad? Maybe he interviews as this OC position, checks off that Rooney Rule. But we'd like you as the wide receiver coach. How do you like that? Oh, well, this is an Iowa State fan. No, you should stick around here, Noah. Why don't you stick here, Mr. Pauley? Please and thank you. So that's the one wrinkle to this, is that he's obviously seen as NFL talent, NFL caliber. He takes the interview. He completes the interview. There's so many things going on. Then the other side of this that we haven't even really talked about is the fact that Matt Campbell is going to be interviewing for the head coaching position of the Bears, which has been something that I feel like as a community are pretty 50-50 on. I'm in the boat of, why did he accept the interview request at all? And also, what happened with the extension? If the extension didn't happen, I'd be extremely scared right now. I would. Okay. I'd be terrified. But he signed this extension, but I can't see anything that shows that he actually signed it. And there's no terms anywhere. So, but the fact that it's being talked about is enough for me to at least cool my jets down just a little bit, maybe at idling speed as opposed to takeoff. But the fact that Noah Pauley now is like, well, let's take a look at what's going on around the NFL. Why? We got such a good thing going here. We're seeing exits from the program. And I don't want to say rapidly, but it just seems like it's kind of like, boom, all of a sudden what? I'm a little concerned. Certainly a little bit concerned. I don't know how this whole thing is going to work out with Matt Campbell. Seems like it's one of those things that the Bears are just doing things that the Bears do. And obviously the Rooney Rule situation with the Noah Pauley interview is certainly something. Okay, that's very interesting. I don't personally love that. I'm not getting into politics, but I feel like that this just feels like weird to me. I don't know, because are they actually going to hire this guy? They literally said they're going to hire the passing game coordinator essentially, but Clay Kubiak. So why is he getting interviewed? I don't know. It just feels weird to me. But either way, I'm a little bit freaked by how many people are like looking at other places, because Iowa State seems to be kind of on top of the mountain right now. Huge win over Miami in the Pop-Tart Bowl. ACC Big 12. See you guys. Boom. There's the door. Right? First 11 win season. Right? Big 12 championship appearance. Made the trip myself. Big deal. We're turning new corners here. New edges. All of a sudden, well, that was fun, guys. I'm on my way out. Whoa. Let's pump the brakes here. Either way, that being said, that is a fact of what happened. Noah Pauley interviewed for the OC position with the 49ers. And I'm not saying he should leave or shouldn't leave. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. I do think he has the talent to be an NFL coach in just a few short years. If not, technically could have been next year. And then the question for me is, what does this mean for Matt Campbell moving forward? I feel a lot less certain than I did like last week when we were all kind of convincing ourselves that, this is just a thing that happens. Barely, maybe this is a real deal. This might be a real deal. That being said, speaking of real deal, the Iowa State women found their stride in Arizona and will be taking on Texas Tech at home tonight. So we got to break that down. Let's talk a little bit about that coming up right after this. After the holiday hustle, there's nothing like giving your home a little TLC. I always find that decluttering and refreshing my space helps me get back into a routine. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look to start the year, Wayfair has everything you need all within your budget. I'm currently looking for furniture, and their huge selection makes it easy to find pieces that fit my style and budget. My favorite part, the free and hassle-free delivery, even for the larger items. Wayfair's site was so easy to navigate, and I found everything I needed in no time. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your New Year's home goals with endless inspiration for every space. I mean, what is your decor style? Why'd you pick these items? They got it all. They can answer every question you could ever possibly have and set you up with everything you could ever need. Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Iowa State basketball seems to be firing on all cylinders. Make it the men's team, yes. Make it the women's team, yes. You call it, you name it. Iowa State basketball is in the headlines, and they are going to be taking on Texas Tech, the women, that is, tonight. Let's break it down. What's going on? What's going down in this matchup? You're here with Locked On Cyclones, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, Iowa State 12-6, 3-2 in the conference. Texas Tech 12-6. 1-4 in the conference. Interesting, I will say. Taking a look at their non-con, as it's referred to, didn't really face many opponents here. I don't see a single ranking. Lost to Florida State by 8. Did beat Gonzaga, but they weren't ranked. And then you jump into the conference portion, and they beat Houston 59-74, and they 4 losses in a row. I mean, that's tough. That is certainly tough. So in the Big 12 rankings, they are, 4 from the bottom. I believe that's 12th here, where Iowa State is 2, 4, 5 positions ahead of them, 2 games back to 4 games back. Now, I will also say, looking at their schedule here, they faced in their last 3 opponents, their worst team that they faced was West Virginia. They faced Arizona State, who is unranked, and Iowa State did just beat. But they also faced number 12 Kansas, number 17 West Virginia, and number 11 TCU. So they have kind of been through the gauntlet here a little bit. And they are going to be then obviously taking on Iowa State now at home, our home. It's going to be tough. This team's good. Like I've said, they are better than their record portrays. So, I mean, they're not ranked, obviously, but they are pretty good. Went back, tried to watch some tape on these guys, and these 3 ranked teams they faced, they made them. They played pretty good basketball, the teams they faced. Arizona State, they lose that by 18. They lose to Kansas State by 20. They lose to West Virginia by, 34? 36, excuse me, I think. And then they lose to TCU by 26. So those are pretty bad. Those are pretty rough. Those are pretty big deficits. So it's hard to really pull anything from that. And so I'm going to take a few of kind of their top performers from just the general stats page, because I just feel like when you face those top tier, those really, really tough opponents, stats might not. I mean, yes, those are the games you're going to play, and that's what the Big 12 conference is what I've been talking about. Like, this is a very good basketball conference, but still, maybe they just. It's like when you trip a little bit and then you kind of can't really catch yourself and you end up face planting with a couple bags of flour and it just spills everywhere and it's raining and it's like, I know this has happened to everybody. So it just picked a reasonable, relatable situation there. And it's kind of like, it just keeps getting worse, I think that maybe could be what is happening here with Texas Tech. I mean, they're still a very respectable, 12-6, same record that Iowa State has. But the question to me then is, are they like Iowa State's outperforming that 12-6 in my opinion, and Texas Tech they might not be. They might be on the other side of that. That being said, some of their star players, Jasmine Shavers, guard, 14.3 points a game, pretty solid, averaging 27 minutes a game. Obviously I'm looking. My mind immediately goes to 3-pointers there, shooting 27% from beyond the arc. Their best 3-point shooter would be Logan Johnson. has played every game, averages about 14 minutes and only 4 points, but pretty solid from the outside there. And then Blacklock is 32.9, so 33% shooter there, averages 5 points a game. But it's going to be Bailey Maupin and Jasmine Shavers are the two we're going to have to look out for. Lion's share of minutes, lion's share of points. As far as rebounders for this Lady Raider team, it's going to be Serengbe Sonogo. Not trying to get it wrong. Just not very good at speaking. She averages 4.3 rebounds a game. And then as far as assists goes, because that's another big one, it's going to be that Bailey Maupin with 2.3. Steals-wise, they don't really make a ton of noise here, but Shavers pretty quick to get onto that ball. And I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if this is like in the best interest of speaking, as the integrity of the show, I guess. I just don't know what the best angle to take is here, but it's the only thought that's going through my mind, so I'm going to say it. Iowa State should run through Texas Tech here. They just should. Watching that tape against those top-tier teams, I don't think Iowa State is, a top 1, 2, 3 team in the conference. But they are they're pretty solid. They're a good team. And I just think that, honestly, I'm not trying to be mean here. I just don't think that Texas Tech can square up. I think they are very sloppy at times. Turnovers seem to be a bit of an issue. Scoring and defense, like those are the two things that you kind of do if you were to break down basketball to a pretty broad thing. What do? You score and you play defense. That's really it. It seems like they struggle at those things. Against West Virginia, I think the score got to 24-2 to start that game. And then they start making a few threes. They get back into it. And that's how basketball goes, right? It's a game of runs. And they just unfortunately started out on the wrong side of a run against West Virginia. But I was thinking about it as I'm doing the prep for this. I'm like, how am I going to frame this? How do I want to talk about this Texas Tech versus Iowa State game? And I'm going to be completely honest. I think I'm just going to front load it because to say that Iowa State would keep it close with this team feels like a disrespectful comment to Iowa State. I'm not trying to be mean, but I think Iowa State is significantly better than this Texas Tech team. And it will depend on how the game goes. And it's the same thing that I've said about every other game. It's your, next opponent right in front of you, 40 minutes, 1-0, all these things that Bill Fennelly says. And you have to, that's why we don't look at the paper, right? We play it out on the court. And I do think that this Iowa State team is clicking after their 2-win stint in the desert. Okay, I think we're seeing a much more even spread of points. I think players are taking their roles specifically a little bit better and playing to their strengths and playing it in a team way. And so I'm very, I'm pretty confident in what this team can do. That's one side of the coin. The other side is you have to actually do it. So you could play 1,000 games of just perfect basketball and everyone's spreading the rock and everyone's doing their job perfectly. And then game 1,001, all of a sudden something happens. Maybe you forget you're playing basketball. I don't know, whatever it might be. And the other team who has done everything poorly for 1,000 games clicks, boom, you lose. Greatest upset in the history of sports. Whatever, like that. That's why we play games. So, do I think Iowa State will win this game? Yes. Does ESPN seem to think that they will win this game? Also, yes. I believe it's 82, almost 83% that Iowa State will win this. And I think that's really, we're going to have to see can Iowa State answer that call because it seems like we've been fighting up the mountain a lot. So now that we're kind of not looking down on Texas Tech, don't say that, but you're the favorite here. How do we respond? How do we deal with this? At home, we're going to be, back from the road. I think Iowa State can definitely take this win. Will it be by 40 points? I don't know. And I don't even think it needs to be. I think we just need a win and we just keep it rolling. And then we've got other games to play and just start our climb back up in the conference because, well, what else do you do? That's why we play the games, right? That being said, why we play the games? Some say it's to win games, right? Others, and I don't know where you might stand on this opinion, but would say it's to win awards. Interesting. Well, the Iowa State men's team has been certainly doing that. And we'll break that down coming up right after this. Attending the new 12-team college football playoff games is an incredible experience that brings fans together like never before. I remember the excitement of past playoff games and can't wait to make more memories with the new updated format and extra teams involved. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Recently, I used Game Time Picks to find tickets for an upcoming game. Browsing through the deals was a breeze. I found great value for all kinds of seats around the venue. The super deal in particular stood out as the best value for the event. I love that I could see the seat views before buying and that the app shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, the on-time ticket delivery, and lowest price guarantee gave me complete peace of mind. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So the Iowa State men's basketball team has been making headlines left and right for anything and everything, all of them good, of course. And we got to break down, this got a pretty cool little deal here. I'm going to be completely honest. You're here with Locked On Cyclones, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And, there's these awards that people give out of great importance, of course. And I heard about this is a fun one. The Big 12 gives out 2 awards per week, the Big 12 Player of the Week and the Big 12 Newcomer of the Week. And, you look at, let's say, which one should we pick here? November 25th. Your Player of the Week is Norshad Omier from Baylor. We saw him play, dog. And then from the 25th as well, same week, you see JT Toppin of Texas Tech, the Newcomer of the Week, which both of those guys are very good, and we've seen it up close and personal. Very good players. But what I'm saying here is one's from Baylor and one's from Texas Tech, and take a look at any of these weeks, pretty much the same thing happens. The 16th, Kansas guy and Kansas there, and Iowa State, Joshua Jefferson, which we'll talk about in a second. Question is, how often does a team get both of them? Well, this week it certainly happened, and Iowa State got them both. That's exactly right. I'll give you a second to guess. Who do you think was the Big 12 Player of the Week? That's right. It was Curtis Jones, none other than, balled out against Texas Tech. Just lights out. Okay, so that's a Player of the Week. Who's the Big 12 Newcomer of the Week? Huh? Think about it. That's right. If you said Joshua Jefferson, you'd be right. And actually, you would have been right. 4 of the last 5 weeks. You have to go back to December 7th. I hope we're back. Pay for the good internet. Looks like we're good. So anyways, what I was saying here is that Iowa State basketball is absolutely on a tear. We all know this. We've been talking about it nonstop. This team is just hard to wrap your mind around how good is the Iowa State Cyclones team. And these awards are going to help, obviously, to kind of get your head wrapped around that, winning both of the Player of the Week and Newcomer of the Week at the same time. Are you kidding me? And then, obviously, the record, and this is the first time that Iowa State has been ranked number 2 in the Associated Press rankings, poll, whatever it is. This team, I will say this. Iowa State athletics has been kind of, it'll hurt your feelings over the last 20 years. You get real invested in a team and just see you later, pal. There was a few moments that Iowa State has been, it's been rough. But this team feels like they have it. Whatever it is. I am not so scared about them being ranked number 2. About them taking on tough opponents every day in the Big 12. I don't know what it is. If it's Taman Lipsey's leadership or Milan's, just staggering stature. I don't know what it is about him. He's beautiful. He's freaking like a moose or something. Or maybe it's Joshua Jefferson's unbelievable vision, or Curtis Jones still no problem coming off the bench and scoring 26 points, being the Player of the Week off the bench. Are you kidding me? Player of the Week off the bench. Not a starter. off the bench. Sixth man of the year. I mean, we might even talk Big 12 player of the year at this point. Off the bench. John Mulaney reference. But what I'm saying here is I do think that this team has what it takes to move a lot of ground, a lot of mountain, if you will. I think that this team is very, very solid. We need to play the games, and we take it one game at a time. But this was a good opportunity for me to take a step back and take a look at this team in comparison to other teams that Iowa State's had in the past. And don't get me wrong, like we've been successful in the past, but I will always forever see the Iowa State punt, like botch in my brain. It's always going to be in there. And every time Iowa State is ever on special teams, I just am on edge every time. And I don't like it. I wish I wasn't. And that's just that's just the football side of things. So basketball's got its own fair share. But like I said, I think this team might have it, man. I think this team might go places. I hope they do. You know, I can't wait. I'm right here alongside it every single day, and so are you. I just think that this team, it's not like a humble necessarily, because I think they know that they're very good. It's just that they approach the game in a way, I think, that it is a kind of a one day at a time. Just go out, get the work done, respect all of your opponents, and I'm very excited. I really am. Keep winning the awards, boys. Move up to number one in the AP poll. Like the football team. Not that this team was one that I thought was going to be like bad, but the football team just has a little bit more history with like letting me down, I guess. And when they were ranked, I think it was 9. I was like just genuinely like, this might get to their heads. We might be looking at something problematic here. We got to figure this out. And I'm not saying that that's what happened, but I felt like we could have won a few of those games anyways. But this basketball team feels like they're good. Everything just seems to be right with this men's basketball team. And they'll take on Kansas at home. And I think that this might be arguably like the greatest game. I'm going to have to be there. Are you kidding me? Like this is going to be electric. So, I just think this team definitely has. I think this team's very, very good. And shout out to Curtis Jones. Shout out to Joshua Jefferson. You get the flowers every single day. I'm sure people think this is the Locked On Iowa State men's basketball podcast because of how much we talk about it, but because they're so good. How could you not? We can't let greatness go to waste, my friends. We have to talk about it. So here we are. That's why we're talking about awards. I'm not a huge awards guy, generally. But this one, I was like, you know what? They earned it. What a week. What a win over Texas Tech. And we'll try to replicate that against Kansas. Maybe we run away with this one, though, huh? Maybe we don't make this one an overtime 1-point floater away type of game. Maybe we run away with this one. That'd be fine with me. That being said, thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? I mean, come on. It's free. Also proves it's a Cyclone state. So I guess if you're an Iowa fan, I get it. That being said, until next time, Cyclone fans, we'll break down the Kansas game tomorrow more in depth and talk about the Lady Raiders and how they fared against our Cyclones as well. So until next time, Cyclone fans, sayonara.